I am so pleased to see so many people here on this momentous day. Really, this is so exciting. If nothing else, people know about me that I like to be prompt. I'm not always prompt, but I love to start a meeting on time, so it's 11 o'clock and we're going to get going. Ferris State University was founded in 1884, and our founder, Woodbridge Ferris, said, "My plea in Michigan, and it will be my plea to the last breath I draw and the last word I speak, is education for all children, all men, and all women in Michigan, all people in all our states, all the time." He said those words more than a century before this concept was embraced by the mainstream. Here at Ferris, we always look to our founder's words to guide us. And it's one of the many reasons that I am so proud to be the chairman of the Board of Trustees of Ferris State University. I'm proud to be representing them today. I'm Amna Seibold, and I want to thank you for joining us on what proves to be, as I said, a very momentous day. I'm excited to share the big news of the name that has been selected for the position of President of Ferris State University, our final candidate for that position. A person chosen by the Board of Trustees in a unanimous decision to be our sole finalist. But first, I'm going to ask you to bear with me as I take a few minutes to explain how we got to this point today. I know you want me to blurt out the name. Taking you on a little ride with me. And although the presidential search process has been discussed publicly, I want to apologize because I may not have communicated enough to ensure that this campus community understood our process steps and our reasoning for taking those steps. So I'm going to take that time right now. It was a good process. The process to select a new president began over a year ago, when President Eisler told the board that he would be stepping down in 2022 after 19 years of service. Big, big shoes to fill. The entire board talked about how this is going to be the most important work we do as a board of trustees, and we wanted to make sure that we got it right. This decision is going to affect this university for years and years to come. So I know that I spent many hours researching, talking to other university chairs and trustee members of other boards to hear how they did it when they had recent searches. I researched at length, and I learned what other universities had done and what they said worked and what didn't work well. And at this point, I want to acknowledge the board members, several of whom are here with us today. Our board, which is all appointed by the governor of the state of Michigan, we serve 8-year terms. We often joke about we're going to double our pay this year because we don't get paid. We get paid from the heart, and that's what's most important. Ana Ramirez-Saenz, Rupesh Srivastava, LaShonda Thomas, Kurt Hoffman, Ron Sneed, George Hartwell, and Mike Ryan. And those in attendance, would you stand up for just a minute, please? They have and will continue to serve countless hours in service to Ferris State University, and they spent many, many, many hours working through this process with me. The first step we took was to select a search firm to help us with this work, and selecting the search firm alone took several months. It took us into June of 2021 when we selected Witt Kiefer, which is a nationally recognized executive search firm. Witt Kiefer then assigned 2 top associates to assist us in this search. Zach Smith, who is a very experienced managing partner in the firm, and Ryan Crawford, a seasoned professional with over 10 years of experience conducting higher education searches. I can't speak highly enough about their expertise and how they helped lead us through this complicated presidential search process. I've worked on executive searches before, but never for the president of a university. Zach and Ryan and their team conducted more than a dozen listening sessions with a variety of Ferris State University constituency groups, and I know many of you participated. Their job was to help the Board of Trustees understand the qualities that the greater Bulldog community was hoping to have in our next leader. They gathered information from faculty, students, staff, alumni, administration, Big Rapids, Grand Rapids, east side of the state, west side of the state, actually around the country. This helped the trustees paint a picture of what we needed in our next leader, and also helped to write the job description itself. Whit Kiefer, the search firm, took that information and literally wrote the job description from that. And then they began to collect applications for the job. Now, at the same time, the Board of Trustees knew that it had a big decision to make. Excuse me. Should the names of the candidates be open to everyone, or should those names be held as confidential? We knew the last time the search took place, which was almost 2 decades ago, a split process was used. The initial list was held confidential, and then the finalists were released to campus, and the campus met the finalists. And frankly, I must admit, I thought that we would probably do it the same way, as did many of the trustees. But much has changed in 2 decades, no surprise. And we had to turn to our expert, Whit Kiefer, to help advise us and listen to their experience, and listen to the experience of those other board members from other universities who had recently been through this, do our research. And a couple of things helped us in making this decision. First of all, in recent years, more and more universities are using an entirely confidential process. And why is that? Well, first of all, we learned that the promise of complete confidentiality expands the applicant pool. Think about it. How would another school feel if they knew that their sitting president applied to Ferris State University, only one person's going to get it, and then returned to their university? They're going to be kind of suspect, think, it doesn't really like us, and it's going to lose some credibility. So many people, very happy in their jobs, they really did not want to put themselves out there if their name was going to be shared. Some of the applicants hadn't even been in the market to change jobs. Whit Kiefer looked at what our university was looking for and approached some people they thought would be particularly suited for this job. And many of the top candidates admitted they only applied when they knew that their names would be held completely confidential. The second reason, we learned women and minority candidates are less likely to apply if they think that their name is going to get out to their current employer. These groups have worked extra hard to make their way up their own university career ladders, and they don't want to give their current employer the impression that they're not happy in their jobs. And getting a diverse pool of candidates was really a primary objective for the board. Third reason, what's happened in the last 20 years? The power and the pitfalls of the internet have really changed things. In the blink of an eye, information can go around the world. And we've all read so many inappropriate comments that are posted about this, that, and the other thing. Everybody on the internet, because they are anonymous, are suddenly an expert, and they feel free to throw out cruel comments. One of the university trustees from a different university that had done a search said to me, "Do you want the internet to choose your next leader, or do you want your campus community?" Well, of course, we wanted the campus community to choose our next leader. So after a very thoughtful debate, the Board of Trustees voted unanimously to make this presidential search a confidential search. And were our experts correct? Well, the proof is in the results. Last week, our student newspaper, The Torch, ran an article and quoted Professor James Rumpf, a former head of the FFA, and the paper wrote, "Because Ferris is a mid-level school, administrators tend to climb the ladder rather than arrive with previous administrative experience. We don't get a lot of people applying who have experience being president somewhere else." Well, this time our confidential search produced very different results. We received over 70 applications for this job, many of whom were sitting college presidents. And the 4 candidates who were brought forward to the Board of Trustees for consideration, of those 4, 3 of them are current college presidents. 2 of them were African American, 1 Latinx, 1 was female, 3 were male. The results speak to the effectiveness of the confidential search. It brought an amazing pool of qualified candidates. But I haven't yet told you the most important part of this entire year-long process, the Search Advisory Committee. The board wanted to ensure that we included many voices representing the many aspects of our greater Ferris community and have them help us make key decisions in our search. After carefully putting together our Search Advisory Committee, and that took time in itself, each member had to first agree to keep strict confidentiality. Not only did they promise to keep it during the process, they promised to keep it forever. I said to them, when you're 85 years old, you still can't tell. We promised these candidates we would not tell who applied for this job, and we take that oath seriously. Next, we also promised each other to never discuss what was said in the sanctity of the search interview process. We wanted to hear honest feedback from the committee members, and they would only give us that feedback if they knew that their comments would stay within the committee. And this group of 24 individuals, boy, did they speak up. We had healthy but respectful debates. They gave generously of their time to this important process, and I know it was exhausting. I mean, someone said to me that they counted up and they are sure that they spent more than 80 hours on this process alone. But they were committed to do the best work that they could for Ferris State University. These committee members took an applicant pool of over 70 candidates, as I said, and they found the 12 best to interview. And then we had a couple of interview days that were long and exhausting, but everybody stayed engaged. Their input and the interaction was so thoughtful and so rich, and the trustees gained valuable insight thanks to the committee's input, efforts, and honest communication. The committee then selected the 4 top candidates to present to the Board of Trustees for consideration. All 24 members of the committee reached consensus on which 4 candidates to move forward. Here's the most important part. Every person on that committee agreed that they could stand behind any one of those 4 candidates and that each of those 4 could potentially be a good leader for Ferris. One committee member said that going into the whole process, his goal was to put forward a hard choice for the board by only submitting top-notch candidates, and that indeed is what happened. So who were the members of this important search advisory committee? Well, the committee, as I said, had 24 members, 13 male, 11 female. 29% represented minorities, and they came from all areas of the greater Ferris community. Largest representation was from faculty. We had 6 faculty members, which is about 25% of the search advisory committee, with representatives from both Big Rapids and Grand Rapids, including 5 colleges. They included arts, sciences, and education, business, health professions, Kendall College of Art and Design, retention, and student success. The search advisory committee included 4 trustees, 3 community members representing Big Rapids, Grand Rapids, and Southeast Michigan. We had 2 students, 2 donors who are industry leaders, 2 administrators, 2 deans representing the colleges of engineering and technology and health professions. I'm partial to health professions. 1 staff representative, 1 Ferris Foundation representative, and 1 Alumni Association representative. Now, I'm going to read the names of these individuals. Many of them are here today. If you're here, would you please stand, give a little wave as I say your name, remain standing, and we'll give some applause at the end to this group that spent so much time. And I apologize if I mispronounce your name. I've spent my life having my name mispronounced, so bear with me. Paige Abramidis, Michael Berghoff, Gail DeBruyne, Lincoln Gibbs, Greg Goglin, George Hartwell, who could not be here today, Emmanuel Jadav, Stephanie Leonardos, Tara McCracken, Okima Moore, Tim Murphy, Penny Nichols Whitehead, David Pilgrim, Ana Ramirez Sines, Phil Renato, Carlene Rose, Jeff Rowe, Dick Shaw, Rupesh Srivastava, Mike Staley, Mike Van Diepenbos, Jennifer Wheeler, Cindy Wilcox, and our staff, Karen Heisman, the secretary to the board, and Fred Goldberg as board counsel. Please join with me in giving them a round of applause. Really, they just did yeoman's work. So the final step, that committee, as I said, gave us 4 people to consider. And the board, a little over 2 weeks ago, came to campus and interviewed all 4 of those potential candidates. And quite frankly, the Board of Trustees was blown away by the talent. But I'm proud and pleased to say that when the board discussed which of the 4 would make the next best president of Ferris State University, their choice for the sole final candidate was unanimous. So we're getting close. The person we chose as our sole final candidate, first of all, harkens back to Woodbridge Ferris. He will uphold the mission, vision, and values that we all hold dear, and will support our core values of collaboration, diversity, ethical community, excellence, learning, and opportunity. That's so important to us. It's so important to all of us, and the board really was focusing on that. Our sole finalist has many years of experience in higher ed, is currently a college president. He understands the legislature of Michigan and knows some key members by name. He already knows Ferris. He's a key partner. He ticks almost every box of criteria listed during the listening sessions last year. I know you will find him warm, engaging, and inspirational as I do. So the Search Advisory Committee and the Ferris Board of Trustees, we are proud to announce our sole finalist for the job of president of Ferris State University. And if I may use the words of my dear mother, I am just tickled pink to make this announcement. I present to you Dr. Bill Pink and his family. This is Lori and their daughter Lydia. She's currently a student at Grand Rapids Community College. I think she knows another fine university she could eventually go to. So I'm going to ask them to have a seat. And more importantly, I am going to ask Dr. Pink to have a seat. Before we hear from him, I'm going to embarrass him a little bit. And then, because I'm going to ask a few people to say a few words about him. I'm going to start. I'm going to go through my agenda here. I'm going to first ask I'm going to have 4 of the Search Advisory Committee members speak to you. And the first one is the president of the Student Senate, and a young lady that we've gotten to know through this process, Paige Abramitis. Would you come up and say a few words, please?
Well, good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know, I am the student government president for Ferris State University. My name is Paige Abramitis. I'm here to share a few words about being a part of the committee and a message to Dr. Pink and to President Eisler. So, I had the biggest smile on my face when Amna called me last fall and asked me to be part of the search committee. I was super excited to be one of the student representatives on this committee because I got to be the voice for the student body on what we, as the students, were looking for in our next leader. I took this job so seriously because, yes, it was associated with confidentiality, but because we needed to find a leader that is going to be dedicated to their work, willing to try new things, connect with the community of Big Rapids, be able to work with faculty and staff, have an open mindset, and care for the students as if they were their own kids. And Dr. Pink, you fit all those qualities, so thank you very much. So to Dr. Pink, I'm so heartbroken that we won't get the chance to work together. However, I believe whoever the next leader of student government is will be willing to work with you and share with you all about the student life here. I know you are a man who is dedicated to giving and getting the best support our university deserves, so I thank you for that. If I had to give you a piece of advice on being president here from a student's perspective, it would be to connect with students. A simple hello to the students who are waiting for their coffee in the line at Starbucks in the UC Center, or cheering with the student section at a football game will have an impact on those students' lives. I wish you all the best in this presidency. And to President Eisler, it was such an honor and a privilege to have you as my university's president and as one of my mentors. I am so grateful we got to work together and connect during my presidency as student government president. Thank you for always making me feel included at all the Spark meetings, for being a huge support to student government, and for pushing me to be a better leader every single day. I will miss you dearly, but I'm excited for you to start this new chapter in your life. Congratulations on 19 wonderful years at Ferris. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, next, I'm going to ask Michael Berghoff, a faculty representative who served on the Search Advisory Committee, to come up and make a few comments. Thanks, Mike. You know, this is the first time I'm meeting most of these people in person. We did everything by Zoom. Thank goodness for Zoom.
Exactly. Well, good morning. Very, very excited this morning. My name is Michael Berghoff. I'm a professor in and the current chair of Ferris's social work department, and a long-serving, perhaps the longest-serving academic senator representing the College of Arts, Sciences, Education for the last 20 years or so. I'd like to thank all of the faculty, the staff, and the students who put their trust in me to represent them in this process. I'm about to start my 25th spin around this Ferris wheel, and it's been quite a ride. I've had the privilege to participate and learn about a wildly diverse variety of issues, initiatives, opportunities, and concerns during my tenure here. When I heard it was time for a presidential search, I threw my hat into that ring, let's say, enthusiastically. I had no idea what the process would entail, but I knew that it would be an incredibly intense and interesting, maybe once-in-a-lifetime experience, and it was. It would include collaborating with and creating a diverse array of stakeholders in the Presidential Search Committee, a group all watching out for the best interests of the entire Ferris community, and we were. And we would have the opportunity and the daunting responsibility to help choose an outstanding candidate to lead Ferris in the coming years, and we did. I have to say that even though this was not the methodology I would necessarily have chosen, I was very impressed with the search firm, who helped produce a very diverse and impressively capable pool of candidates, all anxious to lead Ferris State University and for us as a committee to consider. And so our committee had a great variety of high-quality applicants from which to choose. So whatever concerns you might have about the means, and I get that, I really do, or your questions about whether or not there might have been a better, more inclusive process, I get that too. I hope that you can now get behind the end result of this process. I'm thrilled with the prospect of working with Dr. Pink in the coming years to chart and manifest the best possible future for Ferris State University. Dr. Pink will bring a wealth of new perspectives and experience to further Ferris's mission and vision and to realize our core values. His leadership, his connections, his knowledge, his experience in West Michigan, in Michigan in general and beyond, I am confident will result in great benefits to our students, our alumni, and other university stakeholders in this area, nationally and internationally. I hope you will join me in providing him the warmest welcome to our campus community. And I would also like to say thank you to Dr. Eisler for his service over these years, and I thank you for allowing me to be part of this process. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, next up, I'd like to introduce Penny Nichols-Whitehead, a faculty and union representative from the Search Advisory Committee. Penny, join us and say a few words. Thank you so much.
I guess I can take that off now. Far enough away from everybody. So I'm going to be
relatively brief, although brevity is not my strong suit. So as Amna said, I was the representative for the FFA, the search committee, and like many of you, I had serious reservations about the lack of transparency in the way the search was organized. I considered not participating, but then I decided that having a voice from FFA at the table was more important than my reservations. So I agreed to work on the committee, and we did work a lot. I think I might have been the person who told Amna, at my last count, it was over 80 hours we had put in. So as we got to work, I saw that Amna had put together a really diverse committee, as she said. I was taking note of this. She had representation from every stakeholder faction that I could think of on the campus and in the community at large. One of the other things that I noticed was that she listened thoughtfully and respectfully, apparently, but I'm a skeptic. I'm also a pragmatic pessimist. I'm always looking for the best and hoping for the best, but preparing for and really expecting the worst. So those of you who know me know that that's true. One of the nice things about that is that you're rarely disappointed, and you're often pleasantly surprised, and then you're able to appreciate that because you had such low expectations. So as we went through this process, being the skeptic and the pessimist that I am, I continued to wonder whether the Board of Trustees maybe already knew who they wanted to put in this office. Was this whole thing just performative? Right? We've all had experience with listening tours that resulted in nothing, right? But as we started sifting through the candidate pool, I kept wondering whether we were going to be guided toward someone they already had in mind, but it didn't seem so. If she was doing it, she was so slick I couldn't pick up on it. And I'm a developmental psychologist, so I'm pretty good at picking up on crap like that, right? But it didn't seem so. And at the end, there was not a single candidate on that short list, as Anna said, that I could not have wholeheartedly supported as president. But still, being the skeptic that I am, I wondered whether this was a bait and switch, right? Would they really take someone from our list of suggestions? And I'm happy to report that this time I really was pleasantly surprised. Not only was Dr. Pink on our short list, he was actually at the top of mine. So, of course, only time will tell whether we made a good choice. But from what I saw in his resume and in his interview, which was most impressive, by the way, he has all of the qualities that I was most concerned about. He has experience working respectfully and successfully with unions. He cares about making sure that all students and all faculty feel welcome and supported. He understands the importance of both a welcoming climate and quality academic programs to both recruiting and retention. He also has experience balancing vocational technical programs with more academic programs that prepare for students for further education. And he knows that while immediate employment is a laudable goal, it is not the only worthy goal of higher education institutions. He knows we need to work hard to counteract the anti-education rhetoric that is currently circulating, while still supporting technical training, which is very important. I think Dr. Pink really is ideally suited to the next president of Ferris. I believe Woodbridge Ferris would be very happy to see him here. And in short, I am feeling cautiously optimistic about our new president, and I look forward to seeing him help Ferris live up to its history and to the ideals of our founder, and make Ferris a true leader in providing an education for all people, regardless of race, station, or I would add, aspiration. So, welcome, Dr. Pink. Thank you, Dr. Eisler.
Thank you.
You are more than welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, the final person from the Search Advisory Committee is Dr. Lincoln Gibbs, who was our Dean representative. And would you please come up? Dean Gibbs, thank you.
All right, good morning. I don't know how you follow that. But I am Dr. Lincoln Gibbs, Dean of the College of Health Professions, and it was an honor to serve on the search committee to identify Ferris State University's next president. As Amna said, it was not an easy task at all. Those 80 hours plus were put to good use. However, this committee played an essential role to identify those candidates that we believed would be best positioned to move Ferris forward. The committee members understood that Ferris is a very rare and special place. And with that, this university needs a visionary leader, the right person, to move Ferris forward, to help us build upon the strengths, and to lead us into the future. I want to thank President Eisler for your service, and I'd also like to welcome Dr. Pink to the Ferris State University community as the selected finalist for the 19th president of Ferris State University. Under Dr. Pink's leadership, I'm very confident that we will chart a very exciting course ahead. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so you thought I was never going to let Dr. Pink talk. I am going to let him talk now. I could read his CV, his resume. I'm sure that we have those available to the media if they wanted to see those. Dr. Penny Nichols Whitehead just gave a great encapsulation of some of the reasons why we chose him. He is, as well as being smart, engaging, intelligent, he is the right fit for Ferris, and I introduce to you, once again, Dr. Pink.
Thank you. Oh my. Good morning. I always have to check my watch on that because I want to make sure I get the right time of day correct. So let me say it again. Good morning. Good morning. You're going to get tired of that because I'm an interactive person, and when I say good morning, I like to hear good morning back because it is truly a good morning for me, for my family. Thank you so much. What an incredible day. I need to make sure I get the cap on for a little while, make sure we got the national championship. When I was given the cap this morning, I thought it felt like it was going to be one of those deals where I was going to have 3 caps in front of me on the table, and which one do you pick, Kind of got scared there for a little while. I thought, well, wait a minute. I want to first of all say thank you. What a day that I am able to celebrate. And you will find that I'm a person that believes in just kind of soaking in moments. Because sometimes the moments that we are able to truly enjoy and the moments that we are able to truly drink in, as I like to say, sometimes those don't come so often. And sometimes they're very spread apart. But when they come, I'm a big believer in soaking in those moments, so you'll have to forgive me. I'll ask you to forgive me if you see some silence with me because it's important to me this morning to really, truly soak in this moment in my life. I want to first of all start out by pointing out the beautiful ladies that accompanied me on stage this morning. My wife and my daughter, Lydia is our daughter, Lori is my wife. But to also acknowledge our family here in the West Michigan, Central Michigan area. Some of my family just right a few minutes away from here in Remus, who means so much to us, where my wife grew up, just a few minutes away from here. And also to my family across the country, who some of them are watching right now from everywhere from Texas to Kentucky to Oklahoma. But also close, obvious, near and dear to our hearts, our son, Lance, and his wife, Kayla, and our little grandbaby, Nate. I know Nate, being just a couple of months old, is still sitting in front of the computer right now, looking and probably clawing and then crawling off doing something different. But it's important that family is able to share this with us this morning, both in person, virtually. It means a lot to us. Also to our GRCC family. Obviously, when you have instances where you have put your hands to work at a place, now at GRCC for 7 years, as president there for right at 5 years, when you've gotten to know people and gotten to love so many people in a place, and really worked at and did some things with them and for them as much as you could as president, to try to make things as smooth as possible for them to do their jobs and to do their jobs well. I was blessed because that campus is one that was doing it way before I got there, and they'll be doing it way after I am gone. because it's an incredible institution that I need to make sure I acknowledge this morning as well, our GRCC family. I also want to say thank you to the Board of Trustees here at Ferris State. I did not envy your process in terms of having to select another president. I applaud your choice. But I'm grateful to you for the partnership that you are showing in a board that says, here's who we want to put our trust in to lead this institution. And I look forward to doing that together with you, because that's the only way we get these things done is together. So thank you for the trust you've put in me and in our work that we do. And to David Eisler, a man who I consider a friend, and a friend for years now. One of those people, you have to understand that Dr. Eisler is one of those people in our state that he's been in place so long that he knows how to just kind of have the conversation with you, just to kind of give you the history, but also kind of say, yeah, here's what I'm thinking. And whenever Dr. Eisler says, here's what I'm thinking, you ought to listen. And that's what I've done for now 5 years. And Dave, the leadership that you've had at this institution shows strongly. And I encourage you to be proud of the work that you've done here. Because for us who have been on the outside looking in, it's obvious that your fingerprints are strong and your history is strong. So thank you for the work that you've done for this institution. Well, I was told that no one on stage except for Anna gets to go longer than 15 minutes, so I'm going to try to keep this short, but good luck with that, right? You give a college, university president a microphone, wow, right? But let me share just a few thoughts with you about what excites me about this opportunity. And the thing that excites me about the opportunity, for some people, they would say, well, why does that excite you? That doesn't sound like it's all that good. The thing that excites me about this opportunity is because I believe that the place that higher education is in right now across our country, I think is one of the most challenging places we've been in a long time. We have those who are actually questioning and doubting the value of a higher education, the value of a baccalaureate or higher degree. That will tell you that we don't need that. What would you do that for? And I will tell you, as a community college president, many people that will tell me, Bill, you're in the right place, because the community college is what's relevant today. We don't need this idea of anything more than that. Friends, that tells us that higher education is in a very pivotal place right now, and in a very place of inflection as to what we do about that. What it reminds me of, I love Broadway shows and musicals. It reminds me of the musical Hamilton. The scene, if you've seen it, where Aaron Burr, the gentleman playing Aaron Burr, and if you've seen the one with Leslie Odom Jr., you know that man can sing. But anyway, in that scene where Aaron Burr has the song that he sings about the fact that you need to be in the room where it happens. And he's saying that you got to be, and when he talked about the meeting that had happened that he wasn't in, he said they were in the room where it happened, and all of a sudden they walk out of the room, and there's all kinds of decisions that have been made. And so what Aaron Burr realizes is that I need to be in the room where it happens, because that's where you want to be. And friends, I think our point today is that in higher education, we need to be in the room where it happens. Because I will tell you, total transparency, there are those who are choosing and want to leave us out of that room. That can't be. When they have conversations, whether it be at the state or federal or even community level, and they have conversations about how we advance ourselves as the state of Michigan, as the country in general, friends, it makes no sense to me that higher education would not be in that room. Because we have to be in the room so that we can have the voice that says, here's how we advance our citizenry. Here's how we help create and build and thrive communities. It is the work that we do every day. And it's not an either-or proposition. It's not either you can do this over here with us or you can come over to the university. No, it is a both and. And do not let anyone tell you any different. Because there are so many students that start with this idea, I just want to get a certificate and I just want to work over here, then come back and say, you know what, if I want to do more in that company, I think I need to get that associate degree. And then they come back and say, you know, I really want to move into management, but I don't have those skills quite, so they get that bachelor's degree. It does not matter where they start. What matters is that we show them those pathways to advance themselves, and there's no way higher education should not have a seat at those tables. So the focus is to truly make sure that we are in that room, and sometimes those rooms are in Washington, D.C., and sometimes those are hard rooms to be in, but to make sure we are in those rooms, to make sure we are in those rooms in Lansing, but to also make sure we are in those rooms right here in Big Rapids of how we continue to advance our community. And it makes all the sense in the world for the higher ed institution. It makes all the sense in the world for Ferris State University to be in those rooms where those conversations happen. So that is why I'm excited to be in this role. That is why I'm excited to come from the institution that I come from, because with the partnership that has been over decades between the community colleges here in Michigan, GRCC is the one that I have most prominent because of where I am, but the relationships that this institution has with those community colleges, with the high schools, that relationship and those relationships are so vital. And we will build on those relationships, but even, Penny, as you said it, it's not just about how we build that stack of students who, for them that want to advance to some of the programs that send them to work immediately and get them into skilled trades and the areas. It's also about how we continue just to enhance people. That is what higher education is all about. I hope you're excited about that. I hope you're excited well before I was here. And I hope you're excited well after I'm gone, because it's the work that we have to do. Let's do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pink. Before we leave here, it is important to hear from an amazing person as well, who has served our community for 19 years, longest serving president of any university here in Michigan. We have been pleased, honored, privileged to have him guiding us. And what better person to speak to the job and to the individual who we've chosen to succeed him. Oh, I better say one thing. I keep introducing Dr. Pink as our candidate finalist. And the reason I say that is that they are not our next president until we vote them in May as a board of trustees. So that's why you'll hear me keep using that term. But anyway, I would like to ask to join on stage and make a few remarks, Dr. David Eisler.
Thank you. You know, I kind of thought maybe if I came around out the other side that I might emerge as tall as Bill, and so that was kind of my hope there. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's great that so many people came out to support Dr. Bill Pink as he's named the next president of Ferris State University. 19 years, I don't think anyone sets out to be a president for 19 years. You think about 19 years, that's 40% of our adult career has been spent at Ferris, Patsy and I. That never was a goal, but I think we've learned that there are things to be had in stability, and so I recommend that to you, sir. I think what happens over that period is you learn to care deeply about Ferris, care deeply about the unique mission of Ferris, about the future of Ferris. When you accept a leadership position, I think you inherently understand that there's an alpha and an omega to this experience. You're going to work with an institution, you're going to do the best you can, hopefully going to turn it over to the next person in better shape than you found it, and then hope that they do much better than you did in the days that follows. And I think that's the process. But I think what you don't understand is that when you make that decision, that it's the right time to step away, that while it's a personal decision, that there's an impact in that decision and others around you. And that creates instability and uncertainty in their lives for the people whose work you depend upon to do your work. And that's something that I think each of us in a leadership position would want to avoid, because we don't want to create that uncertainty in our people or in our institutions. And so for me, the time since we announced until I knew who the next president was going to be at Ferris was a time where I worried because of the uncertainty. But there is no reason to be uncertain today, because the trustees have made a great choice, a fabulous choice for the next president of Ferris State University. When you think about Ferris, we know we're a unique place. All your institutions think they're unique. But this piece that we do about associate degrees and bachelor's degrees and professional master's degrees and these first professional and doctoral degrees, there are very few institutions that do that, or very few institutions that offer classes at 22 community colleges and online. And so you wonder, can you find somebody who will understand that, who will be a part of that, who can embrace that? And you did. So what I want to tell you is, I'm certain that Bill and Laurie are really, really excited today, but there's no people that are more excited in this room than Patsy and me, because we're absolutely delighted that they hired Bill Pink for the next president. But you come up here, because this is all about you. This is about me. Come here. So, beyond the university, there was only one person that I encouraged to consider the presidency of Ferris State University, and that was Bill Pink. And I had nothing to do with the process. You have to be like Switzerland in this while it's going on. But what I can tell you is I believed Bill was the right person. I'm certain he's the right person. And now that you've heard him, I don't think you need me to say that he's enthusiastic, that he's a charismatic, and that he's a leader. When I read that sheet that you put together, those 14 characteristics, which included in that is leaps, bounds, and a single bound, Bill meets those 14 pieces. And when you talk about collaboration and diversity, ethical community, excellence, learning, and opportunity, I don't have to tell you that he represents those things. And we're a place that gives associate degrees. He has an associate degree. I think about that understanding, and that's a huge part of who we are. But in Utah, in Oklahoma, he worked with bachelor's degrees, with doctoral degrees. He led the academic life of that state. He came to GRCC doing workforce development, something that is very much at the core of who we are and should be at Ferris State University. So, Bill, there was something that I read at our inauguration, and I don't know who wrote it, but it means something to me, and I hope it'll mean something to you. Once in a while, something comes along that marks a moment we remember as having forever changed our life. A door opens, we walk through, and when we turn and look back for that same opening, it no longer exists. We become different. Bill, I know that happened to us. It's happening to you, and it will happen to this university under your leadership. Ferris State University is an extraordinary opportunity. It's an institution of a wonderful heritage, an exciting future. We were honored and humbled to be a part of this great university, and I hope you feel exactly the same way. It's an institution that changes lives, because I believe under your leadership, we can and will create a truly extraordinary university of the future. Thanks for joining our university. One of the things you'll learn is at graduation we say, you now, and always will be, a bulldog.
A few more thanks here as we wrap up. First of all, thanks to all of you for coming. I just love looking out over the audience, seeing these bright faces, seeing a lot of smiles, even some tears of happiness. So I just thank you all for making the effort to come here, and for all of you that are watching online, I know that you are equally as excited as I am. Thank you to the people who put this event together. It's not like we planned this for weeks and weeks. I made a decision, a commitment to make sure, hold it as confidential as possible until we could get it here to share with all of you. I wanted to respect the Ferris community and not have it come in through whispers and whatevers. I wanted to make sure that you all knew and heard it from us first. And at the same time, Bill's community has been hearing it at the same time. He pre-recorded a message and sent that out during the time that we were talking here. I thought I was going to talk a while, so wait a good 15 minutes before you send it out. It was about 11:15 I sent it. But all the people that helped put this together in pretty darn short notice, and it turned out so well, so thank you. A million names, but my go-to is always Karen Heisman. She is the board secretary, and I can go to her and she can rally the troops, of which we know there are many people here. So thank you all. And now, just so you know, that Dr. Pink and some others will be with the media for just a little while, but they'll be returning to enjoy the reception. So please, there's food and drink in the back, and I invite you all to take a few minutes, meet with your colleagues, meet with Dr. Pink, and share our enthusiasm. And certainly introduce yourselves to Lydia and Lori, who are also new members of the Bulldog community. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all. Okay. Thank you.